I'm Rob. Hit that like, subscribe button. I go live every weekday, 5 days a week. And I say hit the subscribe because it's free for you to do. And it means the world to me. Uh, and if you hit the notification bell, it will let you know when I go live. Because I can't guarantee a time that I'm going live, but I can guarantee that 5 days a week I'm going live on here. I'm bringing you news, information, entertainment, hopefully, some comedy. Maybe we'll tell a joke. I don't know about today. I don't know if I've ever shared my theory on working certain types of jobs, but feels like the whole purpose of certain jobs is to drain you of your essence, to zap your creativity. So you work just enough to get home and do some adult chores, and then you wait till the next day. It's the wage slavery. You're just biding your time until the next day you gotta go so you can pay those bills, so you can buy that food, so you can, quote unquote, afford to live. The cost of living, quote unquote. Cost of living. That's such a stupid phrase. Dumbest phrase ever. I want to talk about a few things. Ever since Aaron Bushnell did what he did in protest, an extreme form of protest. If you haven't seen it in the news, maybe you've seen certain ways it's covered. There's some controversy around it. People are talking about it being a mental health issue. It's not. And as someone who personally experienced different self-harm, mental health issues with immediate family throughout the course of my life, let me tell you, what he did has nothing to do with mental health. And it's really sad that people are saying that. I see one dude on Twitter, Brian Krasenstein, or I don't know, I unfollowed him because it was so disgusting. He said, you stay alive. And someone said, to do what? And he said, run for office. And as somebody who's ran for office before, and he was talking about, like, get local, do local politics, that pissed me off. Because in my town, the mayor has been mayor for 13 years. I ran against him. I lost. But he didn't want to debate. There was no challenge. The people in the town were just fine with the stuff he's not doing. Very comfortable in his position, not helping the people, doesn't give a shit, not trying to progress the community, cares nothing. In fact, my biggest qualms with the current mayor of my town was this dude gave businesses a tax cut at the same time he was raising the taxes for homeowners, which I thought was disgusting. And then they were saying they didn't have enough money in the fiscal budget for the next year for, I forget, clean water or something. I mean, it's just ass backwards. All these people that get into these positions of power, they forget why they're there, to serve the people. What's up if you're just joining? Welcome to the class war, welcome to the struggle. Hit that subscribe and notification. I go live every weekday, 5 days a week. We're going to talk about Aaron Bushnell, the extreme form of protest, and how it was nothing to do with mental health. It wasn't. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was a martyr. He gave his life for something he believed in. And it's been haunting me. Haunting me. There are moments in history that if you live through them, like 9/11, like the Challenger. I'm trying to think I'm sure for older generations, when JFK lost his life, was assassinated, that it has this impact. It's like a meteor hitting the earth, like time stands still. And then there's personal life ones, like when I lost my dad, when I lost my mom, things like that just like the earth stops moving. It's insane. And ever since, I think it was Sunday that I learned about it, I still don't have words for it. That's, I think, why I want to talk about Aaron Bushnell again. This is one of those moments where I think back through history. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about my cousin. If you don't know, I'm related to John Brown. If you don't know who John Brown is, that's just another failure of the school system here in America. John Brown, hero in America in the early 1860s, late 1850s. He helped spark the Civil War. John Brown was trying to raise up an army of slaves that he was trying to free, and he took over Harper's Ferry, the armory, the United States Armory, and essentially he lost that little battle. Things didn't go as planned, but his tiny band of men did their best, and he gave his life for a cause. And when John Brown did this, he had the transcendentalist writers at the time, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, I forget the others, sorry. But they were writing about him, and they helped like just, what's the word I'm looking for? Not consolidate. They helped seal his legacy, or they helped, I can't think of the word, I'm sorry. I'm so tired, my head hurts. I'm haunted by this extreme form of protest. It's just so profound to me. So that's why I'm talking about John Brown right now. And if you don't, seriously, look up John Brown. There's a great autobiography on him. There's great stories, YouTube channels, but an amazing story. But the writers of the time, I guess it was like kind of like the media. These were the great authors and poets. Robert Frost, I think, was one of them. Henry David Thoreau, I know, is like a huge proponent for John Brown. But they all wrote about what had happened. And John Brown, even when he was on trial in what is now West Virginia, at the time I think it was just Virginia, he didn't fight the case. And he said, like, I'm not mentally ill. I knew exactly what I was doing. And John Brown, by the way, you can read, he rewrote the Constitution. Remember, the Constitution was written by people who said all men were created equal, while they were writing the 3/5 clause for their slaves. So remember, there's a deep hypocrisy within that paperwork. And again, written by fallible men that were not perfect. And John Brown had such a grievance with that Constitution, he rewrote it. I highly suggest you read this. Maybe later I'll link it in the description. I didn't link any articles in the description because I kind of just had some thoughts I want to go through. But John Brown was one of them. So his Constitution basically really made all men equal, all men and women equal, which was radical at the time. I mean, he was hunted. My cousin was hunted down in America and then hung for treason. But all he was trying to do was make the Constitution, make America good on their word. Saying, like, you can't say all men were created equal and then treat women and people of a different skin color differently. And he gave his life for that cause. And the reason I'm talking about that is because I think it was Emerson. In Emerson's writing at the time about John Brown, he said John Brown, because again, John Brown didn't fight it, didn't claim mental illness, didn't try to skate off the hook. He wanted to go to the gallows, and he was purposely trying to go to the gallows because he said, me swinging from that rope essentially will do more for the cause than anything else. It will divide this country. He said, this country's going to have to pay for its sins with blood. You can read all about, I mean, some of the stuff he said was absolutely brilliant. And Emerson, in his writing, which, was like, I don't know, like Taylor Swift writing a song about it, if Taylor Swift wrote a song about Aaron Bushnell, which I highly recommend you do. This is how our culture lives on. This is how, like, songs, stories, poetry, this is how we continue these legacies. But Emerson said John Brown will make the gallows as glorious as the cross, comparing him to Christ and sacrificing his life for a cause. And that really turned the tide, that changed things for the country and people's perception of him, because down south, they could not stand my cousin John Brown. They hated him because he wanted to treat people equally. Remember that. So again, why something in my bones don't feel right when I'm down south. So the reason I bring that up is because, we see this throughout history. And I was looking into that extreme form of protest, and it turns out there were a lot more people. I talked yesterday about, I forget his name, in 1963 in South Vietnam, to protest, I think it was the laws against the Buddhist monks. I was trying to read about it yesterday. He did that extreme form of protest. And then there were many people. There was an 82-year-old woman in America. Was it Detroit or Minnesota? Again, I forget. I don't have my notes with me. I'm so sorry. Who did that same extreme form of protest, the self-immolation. I can't say that word. And it was a really old lady to protest the Vietnam War. And this has happened throughout America more than I ever knew. And it's sad because, you know, we should know these things. We should be taught these things. Of course, you know, history ain't gonna write. I mean, look at Biden. What was he eating ice cream yesterday? Talking about maybe a ceasefire. I mean, do that in private, bro. Seriously. One of the people that put their skin in the game to serve your country had that kind of protest against what you're doing, and you're sitting there licking a cone, popping a cone. It's just absolute disrespect. And that's what that's essentially what I want to talk about too, the disconnect. I was reading the story earlier about DJ Khaled, who is just a scumbag. Let's be honest. The scummiest of the scumbags. If you don't know about Khaled, back in 2019, he was boycotted because he's paid to promote this multi-level marketing scheme called Market America. They're scumbags. They have a racketeering lawsuit from 2017 that alleges some pretty heinous stuff. I mean, just if you've ever been involved with like pyramid schemes, I think at one point I worked for one in San Diego and I quit as soon as I could, but it was terrifying because you were like, something's really not right. But it's all about preying on, you know, vulnerable people. And that's what I was at my most vulnerable. I knew no one who just moved somewhere, just needed a job, just needed some money, and these people preyed upon me. And as soon as I recognized what was going on, I got out of there. It felt like a weird version of Boiler Room. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. Watch it. It's a good one. Vin Diesel's image. A lot of people in that Boiler Room. I think it was 99 or 98. I forget when Boiler Room came out. The 90s. Great movie, though. So anyways, DJ Khaled. He's got a history of being suspect. So in 2019, I guess he threw a grown man tantrum about people protesting his album, not buying it, just boycotting it, which I didn't know his album came with. It was a digital download if you bought some like energy shots, which just proves this dude will just do anything for money. That's my biggest issue with some of these people. They don't give a shit what they're selling you. They just do anything for money. And that's DJ Khaled. The proof is he works for a multi-level marketing scheme, a pyramid scheme, essentially. That's what these are the charges laid upon these people, okay? And he's just taking money for it to promote it like it's some, you know, good financial opportunity. And there are people that worship at the altar of DJ Khaled for God knows what reason, because could you say one song that DJ Khaled has released that was a banger? I couldn't tell you. I know he's like in the background of a lot of songs where he's like saying his name. I don't know. Does he win all the time or some shit? He's just he's a smokescreen for no talent. And the story I seen is that he posted a video on Instagram that at a show he was doing, he was playing a concert, and he had his bodyguards carry him out of the car because he didn't want to get his Nike Air Jordans dirty or sandy, and then he had his bodyguards carry him to the stage. Whether you say that's a joke or not, it's not a funny joke, number one. It's like, oh, you getting carried? Like, I don't understand the joke, like the humor in that. That he's such a prima donna, that he's so prissy about his shoes that he needs to be carried like a baby to the stage. That's the joke, that you're a big baby and you need to be carried, Khaled? I know you're going to be watching this later, so DJ Khaled, tell me what the joke is. Is it that you're a man baby and you need to be carried because Big Khaled don't want shoo dirty? Is that it? Fucking Christ. But while that's happening, while he's posting that on Instagram, this is the disconnect in America. And people probably, I guarantee you got like 1 billion likes and all these comments. You're the greatest. Yeah, you treat your shoes so good. There's other stuff happening in the world. Other very extreme stuff. But the disconnect. And so many people, you know, and that's really what, like, that's all that's been haunting me for the past couple of days is like, some people are willing to become martyrs for their beliefs, to give their life in hopes. And that was the other thing about mental health. I didn't like what people are saying. They're saying, oh, you know, it's a mental health issue when you do this self-harm. And let me tell you one thing. That kind of mental health issue, it's people losing hope. A personal experience. My dad did this, okay? He lost hope. Aaron Bushnell did not lose hope. In fact, what he did was hope-filled, that his sacrifice would give hope to other people, that would be the hope for change. So when people have mental health issues, usually there's this illusion of like, there's no hope, there's no other way, there's no way out. And it's very sad because it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem most of the times. The extreme form of protest is the total opposite. And these people are just pushing it around. I guarantee you they've never had anyone in their life go that route where they check themselves out of Earth. Okay? I've had quite a few people do that. And let me tell you, they are hopeless. They lose all hope in everything. They see no other way. What Aaron did was the exact opposite. He said, this, I hope, inspires and gives hope to people that we can change things that, and I don't know everything. I just read all of the things he posted and the things he said before that, and there was not no hope. He was saying, like, this is the cause, and I sacrifice. And the other thing that's been haunting me, is these Christians, man. So I believe in Jesus. I love Jesus. Jesus was a radical, though. And when you think about Jesus, he paid an ultimate sacrifice, right? He became a martyr for the people that believe in him. And if you believe Jesus is God, now I'm going to get really weird, deep down the rabbit hole, but not too deep. Like, you can follow on. This is simple contextualizing of Jesus' story. So Jesus essentially is God, right? That's the trifecta, the Holy Ghost, God, the Son, Father, Holy Spirit, okay? The trifecta of God. Jesus, if he's God, he allowed himself, even when he was tempted in the desert by the devil's like, yo, you can do what you want, just like, you could take yourself out of this. You could throw yourself off the cliff, angels will grab you. You could turn those stones into bread you could eat. You don't have to starve when you're fasting for 40 days in the desert. When the devil came and tempted him. If you don't know that story, go read it. It's in the Bible. It's a great story. Essentially saying, like, you could do anything. Like, your destiny is not written if you want to change it. And that's Jesus' whole thing. He was like, no, I came here to serve a purpose. I'm here for one cause and one reason only, to sacrifice myself for the sins of the world. Okay? Long story short, that's what Jesus was doing. While he was saying, just love your neighbor, love people, love your enemy. He said, you had heard it to say, hate your enemy and love your neighbor. He said, but isn't that even what the tax collector do? Isn't that even what, like, the worst of the worst people do? They hate their enemy and they love their friends. He said, I've come to tell you that you are going to love your enemy and love your friends. And that is what will set you apart. Anyways, let me get back to what I'm saying. Let me get back to my theorizing. So if you believe that Jesus, paid the ultimate price for you and was crucified on the cross, then you also understand that he allowed that to happen because he's God. So he knew. That's why he's praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, whatever it's called. I always screw up that word. But he's praying in the garden before the night of his crucifixion. He's praying so hard that he's bleeding. Okay? Bleeding. He's sweating blood. That's how tough it was on Jesus. That because he took that human form, he was that stressed. He knew the stress of humanity. But he still allowed it to happen. He did not falter from the course. And if you ever seen, like, The Passion, that that movie, you see how awful his last few hours were, his last day was, and he went through that, and he himself allowed it. So that's been ringing around in my head because I see these certain people talk nonsense about this extreme form of protest, but essentially Jesus did the same thing. His extreme form of protest was to suffer as a human for the world. That's what Jesus' whole thing was. Like, he suffered the worst. And if you believe he's God, then you believe at any moment he could have snapped his fingers and been like, I'm done with this. I'm totally done with it. I don't want to go through it. In fact, his last words on the cross were, Father, why have you forsaken me? That's how human he was. He was like, yo, this is brutal. I'm not trying to get frustrated. And listen, if you got other thoughts, leave it in the comments. It's just, this is haunting me. That, like, this is where, like, think about it. This stuff has been happening since Vietnam in America. And it's not happened as much as it happened during Vietnam. But we're at another point like that. where people are trying to take a stand, and you got the president of the quote-unquote free world licking an ice cream cone, talking about a possible ceasefire. I mean, it's just bananas what's going on. Absolutely bananas. Is that how Gwen Stefani spells it? It's bananas. Why don't they play that song anymore? I haven't heard that song in forever. I guess I could just play it for myself, but I feel like that used to be like a thing you heard everywhere. I don't hear it no more. Pissed. If you're just joining, please hit the subscribe button. I go live every weekday, 5 days a week, and I can't guarantee a time, but I guarantee 5 days a week, bringing information. Today's just a random day. I don't have my notes. I'm just kind of wilding out because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe is this news story not affecting anyone else? Not even news story. Is this moment in history? This is a historical moment. Is this not affecting anybody else? This is truly affecting me. I never in my life thought I would witness something like this. I mean, I feel like this after like 9/11, I was like, oh my God, like what just happened? There's been some moments, but this is one of those. Yeah, Tasha couldn't even eat the chocolate I requested last night. Requesting chocolate, that seems awesome. No, but for real, it's unnerving. It's unnerving that there's such a disconnect. Well, people are worshiping at the altar of DJ Khaled on Instagram. You have other people that are so empathetic to what is happening around the world, they're willing to engage in that extreme form of protest. And there's just a disconnect in America. And that's why I do this. That's why I do the class war. That's why I talk about the struggle. That's why I share my story. That's why I'm going live 5 days a week. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll get alerted when I go live. But that's why I talk about all this stuff, because just like my cousin a long time ago, John Brown, knew that ish wasn't right. And like I said the other day, if you're going to say, well, it is what it is. Somebody said that to me and I went, oh, Jesus, just stop. Please stop talking to me. Because it isn't what it is. It doesn't have to be what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you say it is what it is, it means you've just submitted to this being what it is. Joe snacking on his ice cream cone. Old Joe, popping a cone. Not even a good cone. I think it was just vanilla. Who just gets a vanilla cone? What are you, 80? Oh, he is. 80-year-olds should not be running this fucking country. Am I the only one that feels like that? But if you just say it is what it is, you accept, you submit, you give up your power as a citizen of this country. And you know what? If you say it is what it is, you shouldn't get to say the land of the free. You shouldn't get to talk about democracy. Like Abby Hoffman said, one of the greatest revolutionaries of our time, or the time right before us. Abby Hoffman said, democracy is not a place, it's a thing you do. And when you say it is what it is, you're just giving up that power. And trust me, there's a lot of people that are willing to take that power from you. And they go, good, he's submitted. Now we implement our will. And that's what's happening right now. It's frustrating. And I just look through history and I look at all the people I most admire are the ones who say it doesn't have to be what it is. And what can I do to change that? How can I, like Abby Hoffman, he did guerrilla theater. That's what he called his protest. Guerrilla theater. Because Abby Hoffman tried to levitate the Pentagon. He had hundreds of people show up outside the Pentagon and they were going to levitate it. And he laughed it off, but it was bringing awareness. He knew how to use TV and the media to, get into the spotlight for the causes he wanted, like to stop the Vietnam War, XYZ. I know this isn't a typical class war, so the struggle live stream. So my apologies. It's just, I can't let this I just want to throw it out there. Like Olivia Rodrigo, we talked about yesterday, doing the right thing. There's a lot of artists not like DJ Khaled, the opposite of DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled is the opposite of doing an extreme protest. He's a big man baby that needs to be carried to the stage because he doesn't want his shoes dirty. What a piece of shit. If you like DJ Khaled, please go somewhere else. This live stream ain't for you. We are just on we're having different conversations. No disrespect. Some people some people choose to do drugs to escape reality. Some people worship at the altar of DJ Khaled, but that guy's a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme hack who'll do anything for money and needs to get carried to the stage, whether it's a joke or not. If it's a joke, what's the joke, Khaled? That you're a man, baby? You got to be carried to the stage? Can't get your shoes dirty? Jesus, what's going on in this world? So yeah, look up John Brown's story and what Emerson wrote about him, that he would make the gallows as glorious as the cross. And I think right now is a time in the culture, because the culture is what perpetuates, society. George Carlin, philosopher comic, helped push, look at all the comics, they push society forward. They go in the taboo areas of our society and culture, and they bring it to light and make us laugh and make us reflect and look at things differently. And I think right now is another moment where artists should be writing poems about this man and singing songs about him to, I want to say consolidate, but it's not the word, to like root or not root. What's the fucking word? I'm having such a hard time. My brain is frazzled. Frazzle Rock. That's Fraggle Rock. Sorry. All right. Who's that person? Never seen this much traffic on the bridge. All right. Thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe. I will see you tomorrow. If I don't go live later, I might go live later. I'm just exhausted. Work and this story's been haunting me. So forgive me. Today isn't a typical thing. Like I said, I don't have my notes, but hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, live 5 days a week. And oh, I forgot to do this right off the bat. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you. If you've subscribed, if you joined the struggle, if you joined the class war, if you joined in solidarity, my God, thank you so much. It means the world to me, for real, because my job is grinding me to a stump, and I'm trying to do this thing on YouTube, and I can't do it without you. I cannot do it without you. So if you've subscribed, seriously, it really, truly means the world to me. And I'm very grateful. Very humbled, very grateful. We've got a lot of new subscribers, so thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed, it's free. It means the world to me, for real. Hit that little notification bell too, because I'd love for you to join in the conversation. Love for you to leave a comment and share your thoughts. The discussion needs to be pushed forward. Again, I'm alone in my head. I gotta get out of my head, man. So please talk with me. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.